Hello, I'm here with Miss Mills, and I'm here to discuss a very controversial point about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic and erotica based on My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. So, Miss Mills, why don't you introduce yourself before we begin?
Well, as you know, my name is Miss Mills. I'm from Northern Ireland, which is in the UK, so
Yep.
quite a minority country. I am a temporary teacher that teaches in both primary schools and secondary schools, so I have a wide berth in knowing cultures of children and who does what and
Yeah.
sort of
Yeah.
those sort of
Yeah.
things.
Okay, so we're here because you've recently learned about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and you have some reservations about some of the content that you have seen as a teacher about this show and this phenomenon. Yes.
Yes, I was quite shocked, to be honest, about some of it
Well,
that I came across.
could you tell us a little bit about how you discovered this the My Little Pony thing and what led you to Googling it, for example?
Well, what started it was in one of the primary schools I teach in. Obviously, you're not allowed to bring toys in and play with them during class, but some girls had these little pony figures. And they look quite similar to, the My Little Pony that would have been around when I was a child, and I
Yes.
loved to play with it. So, obviously, for nostalgia's sake, and I started to, just ask them about it, and they told me what it was. And I was like, oh, there's a new show out. And I said, oh, just for nostalgia, for just being nostalgic, I thought, oh, I'll have to give it a look, because I loved it as a child.
Yeah.
But when I gave it a look, it was all the general things, this age, well animated, had an interesting story, but not something I'd personally get into because it is a child show.
Yes.
Maybe something if, I don't know, I had nothing to do. But then I started to notice it elsewhere now that I knew about it. I noticed it in some of my secondary schools. And what was most interesting was the majority of the male students that I saw with it, just like buttons on their bags or key rings, the sort of things. And I was honestly, I was a bit confused. I
So
was at the time.
you then went on Google, yes, to research.
Yes, because as a teacher, I want to try and understand my students better. And if I ever asked one of the students about it, they got a bit edgy. I couldn't quite understand it, as if I don't know, they thought I was having a go at them or something. But I was honestly, I just wanted to know what the thing about it was. So I just, as anyone does, just innocently enough typed it into Google. Went to Google Images.
And
And well, honestly, I have to say I was shocked with what I was greeted with on the first page.
we're talking about pornographic content.
Yes.
Okay, and you're saying that this material could be seen by children, and that's what concerns you.
Yes, it wasn't concealed in any way. It was just right there on the front page.
You see, this raises an interesting point because within this fandom, to my knowledge, there is a great sort of polarization between those that support the pornographic content and those that oppose it. I know that Hasbro in particular are quite heavily opposed to it, as you can imagine.
Well, I'd hope so. It'd be a terrible marketing ploy for them, and it's terrible for the age range.
So do you support your sort of 17-year-old students enjoying this show, or do you find it to be something that's distracting from their work?
Well, honestly, I don't have much say in their personal lives, and there's a lot more terrible things that they could be into. They could be into smoking or drinking or drugs. So I see it quite harmless for someone to sit and enjoy a show, regardless of the age range, even if it is quite childish and probably not the best thing for them, education-wise. But I don't think I could support the other side of it.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Clearly, there's as I said, there are different opinions towards this. And as a teacher, you're obviously in a position where, if it was up to you, would you expect better of the adults that are creating this pornographic content?
Yes, I would. And it isn't that I was shocked that there was, pornographic images of it. As a teenager, I went on the internet, and obviously everyone knows in this day and age it's a bit hard to avoid that.
Yes.
You all go through your stages where you like certain things. It's quite hard to avoid some sort of form of erotica being drawn of something. But I was extremely shocked and appalled at the amount of it, just from simple Google searches, and the availability of it. How a young child could stumble upon that. Like, this show's aimed at like 5 and 6 year old little girls. What would that do to them? They wouldn't understand what was going on.
I completely agree, and I think that it is definitely a problem. On the one hand, it's difficult to censor the internet. In fact, it's impossible to censor the internet. And there's the argument of freedom of speech or freedom of creative freedom, if people should be allowed to make this content. But on the other hand, it does seem to be quite widely available, which does become a problem. Are you personally fearful that some of your younger students will see some of this content if they're obviously interested in the show and the toy range?
Well, yes, so obviously I am quite concerned about this fact, because a lot of people buy things online nowadays. So these children maybe go online and they've seen their friend has this toy and they want to find it. So they Google it, hoping to come up with, I don't know, Tesco's or Sainsbury's or somewhere sells little figures, and they're greeted by these images in the image search.
Yes.
I would be terribly fearful of that, because I know in this day and age, very young children go on the internet now, because it's thought to be safe, but in reality it's not that safe because of its availability and how easy it is to get onto certain parts of it now.
So do you have any advice that you would give to parents of children who are into the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic TV show and toy range, to help them avoid seeing this kind of content?
Well, from what I've seen, it's near enough impossible to avoid. Because I was quite concerned about this, and I was seeing if there was anything being done, and I did notify the company about this of my concerns and worries with young children. And obviously also my worries for the older students who would think this kind of thing was normal. I know it's very hard to classify what is normal and what isn't, but I don't believe drawing those kind of pictures, not only of children's characters, but of horses. Because,
yes.
well, that's likely what I found the strangest about it.
The animal side.
But my advice, because it just seems impossible, because there's all the freedom of speech and you can't censor the internet, is if you're going to buy your child My Little Pony figurines, I would suggest going into a shop first online and then searching for it instead of just blindly searching for it. And if you are going to blind search, the parents should do it on their own until they found a safe site to let their child browse through.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Mills. That's very useful. We'll be coming back to your points a bit later on in the interview. Up next, I'm interviewing a person who is a certified clopper, so it'll be interesting to see what their perspectives are. But thank you, Ms. Mills, for coming along and taking part in this interview.
I hope it can help.
Thank you.